Hello YouTube, I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney and I'm remaking a video today, specifically talking about the protected classes. What are the protected classes? And I'm making it because times change, and I was speaking to someone today and she said to me, what are the protected classes? How do I know if I'm the victim of workplace discrimination? And I said, well, I can send you a video, but I don't think we made that video in about 2 years. And laws change, things change, and I should probably make a new one. So I'm remaking that video and I'm sending out the new one. And if you're watching this video 2 years from when I made it, I suggest you look into this yourself or ask me to make a new video because things change and this world of law in this field is rapidly evolving. Now, what is a protected class? For our purposes and for the purposes of the law, only the law, not philosophy, not morality, not Twitterverse, only the law, discrimination is defined as a negative workplace consequence that is motivated by, that happens because of your membership in a protected class or because you engage in a protected activity, which is essentially the same thing. Now, that's simplistic to an extent, and if that is something you need further building out on, comment below. I'll try to make that video for you as well. But the simple way to say is, if you feel you fall into one of these protected classes that we're talking about today, and you feel that as a result of falling into that protected class, bad things are happening to you at work, that's probably discrimination. And the next thing we have to talk about is that protected classes are established by laws. Now, there are federal laws that apply to all 50 states. There are state laws that apply only to the state you're in, and there are local laws. So, for instance, if you're in New York City, you will have more protected classes than you might have if you're in, let's say, Binghamton, New York. And in both of those areas, the laws of the federal government apply to you, same as they would in Wyoming or Washington State or Florida, right? And so wherever you are, you're going to have to get a feel for what your protected classes are there. And for that purpose, I suggest looking it up on the internet, or speaking to a local employment attorney who should be thrilled to help you free of charge, in my opinion. If they're not, why'd they get in this business, frankly? Now, I'm going to start with the federal protected classes, which apply to all 50 states. And I have a bit of a cough. It's not COVID, but I apologize. Excuse me. We have race. That's the first protected class. Next, we have color. People might say, Vince, what's the difference between race and color? The answer is quite a bit. That's its own video, but I'll give you the real quick. Generally, race is not something you can always visually tell, right? For example, I was once sitting with a fella. He was about as pink as me, looked just like me. Could have been my brother. But he kept talking about racial discrimination. I kept saying, okay, sure, man. I want to help. How do you self-identify in terms of race? He did not like that question. He did not like that question one bit. He felt that I should know visually what his race was. If I'm playing that game, my friend, you're pinky. Just like me. Now, that individual called me a white devil and stormed off. I'll never know to this day what his race was, nor why he was using a racial slur that I believe dates back to the Boxer rebellions in China. But I digress. So getting back to this list, national origin discrimination. What nation were you born in? Do you originate from? That is a source of protected class. If you're being targeted on that basis, that is a claim under federal law. Your religion, your gender. Now, under the federal laws, this is also going to include subcategories of pregnancy, childbirth, and related medical conditions. Your disability, physical or mental. If it impacts your ability to do your job, it's a disability under federal law, generally. Your age, under federal law, 40 and above. In New York State, well, I should say in New York City, and I believe New York State, any age is protected. Excuse me, so be aware of that. Your citizenship status and your genetic information. Now, on almost all of these, I have individual videos getting into the specific protected class, discussing it in greater length. If you need a link to one of those videos, comment down below. I will get you that link. If I have not created a video, or if I need to create an updated video, or if you have further questions, I will create you a new video because I think this is a really valuable piece of information to have out there. And although people do write about this, frankly, I don't think there's that many human beings who love digesting written word on the internet. So these videos, in my opinion, in my belief, convey information in a more digestible manner and can be more helpful. Although probably less efficient listening to me run my mouth than reading. But that being said, if it helps, it helps, right? And that's going to close out our federal protected classes. Now, in addition, New York state law is going to cover race and color again, national origin, religion, gender, disability, age. New York State, it's 18 and older because you have to. I actually don't know why they put it at 18. I don't really know why they picked 18, but New York State is 18 and older. Genetic characteristics, marital status, familial status, being pregnant, caring for a child under 18, or even seeking to adopt a child. Now, let's keep it moving. Your orientation, sexual orientation is protected in New York. Do not say sexual preference. That is rude. That has implications. Now, sexual orientation has a subcategory that I think should be its own category, which is perceived sexual orientation. Now, this is important, and this is key, because this one's really unclear. If someone thinks you're a certain sexual orientation, and they treat you negatively on that basis, you still have protections, even though you're not, in fact, of the sexual orientation that they believe you are of, right? This comes up for me a lot. People seem to have all kinds of thoughts about my sexual orientation and make wild assumptions about it. And then when I'm like, I, one, don't know why we're talking about this. Two, what? Well, argue with me. Be like, no. I know you, what you, orient as. It's like, what? What's wrong with you? I'm telling you no. Whatever. It's easy for me. It just rolls off my back. But like, rude. Gender identity is a protected class. Lawful use of any product or lawful recreational activities when not at work. Now that's a weird way of saying marijuana is legal and it's a protected class if you're using marijuana lawfully in New York State and your employer is seeking to do something bad to you on that basis. Now, it does go beyond that, obviously, but that's really what that law is aimed at. Military status or service. This comes up a lot for people in the National Guard who get deployed. Now, there's also people, your military service becomes an issue because you get weird employers who are like, you went to Afghanistan, right? And the employer will be like, I did, yeah, I served my country. I did 3 tours. It was a hard time, but I'm glad I was able to serve my country. And the employer will be like, you got the PTSD, you got to go. So what now? Well, that's a variety of problems, including perceived disability discrimination, or actual disability discrimination if the person does actually suffer from PTSD. But also, that is discrimination on the basis of military service, right? And is wildly illegal and inappropriate and just makes me think you're a garbage human if you're engaged in it. All of these, frankly, all of these things, all these protected classes, if you're being nasty to someone on these bases, you're a bad person. I think that's probably the case, probably true. Observance of Sabbath, which is really just a subgroup of religious discrimination and religious accommodation. Political activities. Now, this popped up early on because when you get like a new mayor or governor or whatever in town, they fire all the old politicians' buddies out of their jobs and put their own people in. Or if like a Democrat takes over Republican county, they fire all the Republicans who worked on the Republican campaign while they were working for the county or something like that. But it's more than that, but that's how you see it most often. Use of a service dog. Service dog, not emotional support. There are videos we've made delving into this topic. It is a deep topic, and every time we talk about it, people post nasty comments and nonsense, and I'm here for it. I'm here to keep just answering questions accurately, and I don't care if that makes you angry. I don't control the laws. I don't make the laws. You do. You have more power over the laws than I do. You vote for the people who do the things you don't want them to do. Moving on, prior arrest or criminal accusation. Criminal accusation is amazing. It's a really important protected class because it used to be people could get fired just on somebody making some stuff up about them and filing a police report. Prior convictions. Prior convictions is a protected class. And domestic violence victim status, right? If you've been the victim of domestic violence, that is protected. That is not just the man on female archetype of yesteryears that was never accurate to begin with. It is all domestic violence. It's your uncle is beating you. You're an older person and your caretaker, who happens to be your niece, is abusing you. Your same-sex partner is abusing you. Like all the domestic violence, right? All protected. All protected. Now, New York City, it is additionally illegal to discriminate on your credit history for a job. There's more than that. This is not all the protected classes, not all the protected. You could argue there might be a few others. I have argued there might be a few others within New York. You could argue, listen, we can't get into those arguments. It's going to make a video that's way too long, and we're already at, oh dear Lord, almost 12 minutes. So, listen, where you are, protected classes may and will often be different. Find out what your protected classes are where you are. But this is a useful kind of a summary video for New York, and it gives people a jumping off idea for wherever they might be as to what the protected classes could be. And I hope it's helpful. And if it was helpful, consider liking and subscribing. Apparently I'm very pointy today. If you don't mind liking and subscribing, it does help me to help more people just like you. And I hope this does help somebody. Take care, everyone.